In front of his house, Curtis sees a huge thunderstorm coming. Soon it starts raining and he notices that the color of the rain is like fresh motor oil. Curtis is married to Samantha and they have a daughter, Hannah, who cannot speak. After breakfast, Curtis goes to his job at a construction company where he sees DeWart, his friend. They start drilling, while DeWart's wife visits Samantha and the clouds cover the sky. It starts raining and they close the work when Curtis is about to leave. Both friends make jokes and laugh. Curtis returns home and asks her wife about their daughter and Sam tells him she's still not playing with the other children. The next day, Curtis starts to clean the trash, and seeing the tornado he goes to Hannah, and suddenly his dog attacks, chewing his arm. Curtis wakes up screaming, realizing it is just a dream. During breakfast, he sees his daughter playing with the dog and Samantha tells him to come home before 6 p.m. Curtis leads Hannah away from the dog and when Sam stops him, he angrily leaves without breakfast. Jim, their boss, tells them that even though the rain has stopped the work, I need it done before the 15th. Curtis is looking at his arm and Jim tells him to finish the excavation today because we can't lose this project. Curtis buys a doghouse and supplies fencing around it, after which he and DeWart begin drilling. During the work, Curtis sees swarms of menacing black birds, which makes him more suspicious. The family goes to a sign school where the teacher teaches the parents sign language to communicate with the children. Then they practice talking in signs with their daughter and Curtis is in a very bad condition and his clothes smell. Curtis is driving home with his daughter in the heavy rain and a woman comes in front of his truck which causes the accident. He regains consciousness covered in blood and then some people attack and start pulling Hannah out of the car. He wakes up breathing heavily and then Sam looks at him and says, "You look sick, you should rest." Sam tells him that we have a family dinner at our house on Sunday so I can cancel if you want, but Curtis tells her I'm fine and she leaves. He is very disturbed by this and then builds a doghouse and confines his dog there. On the other hand, Sam sets up a stall and sells handkerchiefs. After that, Curtis checks the underground shelter and sits there for a while. Sam asks him why you tied the dog outside and Curtis tells him I tied him out to protect Hannah. He hears on the news that gas clouds have wreaked havoc in various parts of the city, and a man reports that it was difficult to breathe in the storm. Curtis dreams again and sees her daughter looking out of the window, and when goes near to take her, Curtis sees a man outside. Thunder crashes loudly and the man is trying to open the door. Suddenly all the things in the house start flying in the air, which scares him a lot. He wakes up in a panic to see that he has peed on the bed, and when his wife comes to call him, he scolds her and asks her to leave. After washing the bed sheet, he takes his daughter to the library, buys mental health books, and then buys some food. He reaches home and Sam expresses displeasure at his late arrival, then they all have dinner. Late at night, he gathers some things, then starts cleaning the shelter, and puts food and drinks in it. After waiting for a long time, Sam sees him in the shelter and Curtis reads the books he bought earlier. The next day, he visits the doctor and informs him about his situation, and the doctor advises him some medications. The doctor tells him to visit a psychiatrist in Columbus in case he doesn't feel good by these medicines. He goes to work and DeWart tells him the drilling will take them a week, and Sam, on the other hand, makes an appointment with the doctor for her daughter's surgery. Curtis buys the medicine and when he arrives home, Sam hugs him, telling him that the doctor gave an appointment for Hannah. The family then enjoys it, and later Sam asks Curtis to book a place with a beach and he agrees. Curtis takes his medicine and the next morning he wakes up dreamless and has a peaceful breakfast with his family. At the job, Curtis asks DeWart how to survive underground for days, but DeWart doesn't give him a good reply. Curtis hears a thunder crashing but the sky is clear. DeWart asks him what is okay, but Curtis drives away. He drives in panic, which makes him stop the truck, and on the road, he sees a container for sale. Curtis visits his mother. Sarah has paranoid schizophrenia that surfaced in her at about the same age that Curtis is now. He's worried that he may also have the disorder and asks her about the dreams he is having. Sarah tells him, "I used to have panic attacks all the time which caused me to have seizures and I thought everyone was watching me." Curtis calls the doctor and asks to recommend him a good doctor in this town. At night, Sam asks him why he came late and Curtis says he went to see his mother. After seeing his daughter, Curtis makes a list of supplies to build a tornado shelter that costs more than he thought. He goes to the bank for the loan, but the bank officer tells him that this loan will cost him his house if he doesn't pay it on time and suggests not to take the loan. Curtis insists that he needs money to renovate his house and the officer accepts his loan application. He then asks DeWart to ask for his help to build the tornado shelter, so he needs equipment from the company. DeWart tells him, "I don't want to see you in any kind of trouble," but Curtis says everything is all right and he is also fine. Curtis visits a counselor named Kendra with whom he talks about his family's psychological history. Kendra asks Curtis about his mother and Curtis tells her, "I don't know about her symptoms because I was 10 and my brother was 17. She left home and my father found her eating trash and admitted her to the state hospital in Columbus." Hannah's teacher tells Sam to continue with the sign language and any additional therapies Hannah needs for the cochlear implant. On the way home, Curtis stops the car, sees lightning flashing in the sky, and asks himself, "Isn't anyone seeing this but me?" He buys a shipping container and, with the help of DeWard, excavates the house's backyard to build a shelter. Sam comes home and is shocked to see all this because Curtis has been hiding everything from her. Sam asks to tell me everything and where did all this money came from. Curtis tells her, "I took a home loan," and listening to this she becomes angry, asking to explain what he is doing. Curtis leaves without explanation and Samantha starts crying. Curtis takes more than the prescribed dose of a sedative and has a seizure. Samantha calls an ambulance. He vomits blood and when the ambulance arrives, he recovers and tells them to leave. Sam asks him to explain and Curtis explains to her that he dreams about a dangerous thunderstorm and thick rain like fresh motor oil. He tells her it's not like a normal dream, it's like a feeling of fear, and that's why he's doing all of this to protect his family. Curtis is increasingly absent from work, causing tension with his boss, as he and Samantha make preparations for the cochlear implant surgery for Hannah in 6 weeks' time. Having been informed of the borrowed work equipment, Curtis's boss fires him and gives him only 2 weeks' worth of medical insurance benefits, after placing DeWard, the close friend and co-worker whom Curtis asked to help him start construction of the shelter, on 2 weeks' unpaid administrative leave. Curtis buys gas masks for his family and extends his previous employer's health insurance policy for a few extra weeks. After he finds out that his counselor at the free clinic has suddenly transferred and been replaced with a new one, he walks out. Tensions linger between Curtis and Sam over his loss of a job, income at such a crucial time for their family. Samantha gets Curtis to see an actual psychiatrist and demands that they attend a social function so she can restore some sense of normalcy to their strained, increasingly isolated life. At a Lions Club community gathering, a bitter DeWard, who has been spreading gossip that Curtis is crazy, is angrily provoked and punches him. Enraged, Curtis knocks DeWard to the floor, overturns a table, and unleashes a frightening verbal tirade upon everyone present. He prophetically shouts that a devastating storm is coming, insisting that none of them are prepared. Later, a tornado warning sends him and his family into the shelter. After they awaken, Curtis reluctantly removes his gas mask, prompted by Samantha. They go to open the shelter doors, but he still hears a storm outside. His wife implores him, insisting that there's no storm and that he needs to open the door. After a tense standoff, Curtis throws open the doors into the blinding sun. A strong but bearable storm has passed, and neighbors are cleaning up broken tree limbs and other yard debris as power company trucks restore electricity along the street. A psychiatrist advises the couple to go through with their planned annual beach vacation, but that Curtis will need to get psychiatric care in a facility away from his family upon their return. At Myrtle Beach, while Curtis is building sandcastles with Hannah, she signs the word storm. As Samantha exits their beach house, the thick, oily rain that Curtis spoke of begins to fall, staining her outstretched hand. Samantha looks up to a bigger version of the ominous storm clouds Curtis had seen, massing over the ocean. Tornado-like waterspouts reach down to the ocean's surface, and the tide pulls back as a tsunami looms in the distance. Samantha and Curtis exchange glances as Samantha assuringly whispers, "Okay." The scene cuts to black, leaving the truth of the reality a mystery. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.